understand? Able to hear my voice? This is audible. Can you able to hear my voice? Voice is audible to you, online student? Can you hear me? Okay, we'll start the session.
Hello.
So why we are assembled here? Discuss MCS. This MCS stands for what? Microsoft. So your aim is what to, after doing this course? What is your intention? Work like a administrator. Which type of administrator? System admin. So basically, what is the roles and responsibility as an administrator we need to do? Any idea? Yes. What we will be doing as an administrator? Installing the OS. Apart from that, to create. Yes, speak up. Because your intention might be something. No? That's why you are here, giving access. Anything else we will do as an administrator? Network services, maintenance, permission also give. So only one work you will do, or all these things you will do. So your role is not only one. You have to manage many things. So what are the things expected for, from us as administrator that we are going to discuss through this course? So as the name you said, MCSE stands for what? So this course is basically designed on Microsoft, but on which operating system? Windows. So in in Windows how many types of operating system they released? Yes, two types of OS, client OS and server OS. So we are going to discuss here the client OS or the server OS. Do you know any difference between the server OS and client OS? Or both are same or any differences? What difference? Configuration. Can you do that in client? Some other things are also there. That we are going to discuss as our session proceeds. But fundamental difference is what? We cannot configure the services as per our requirement in client. And hardware support is also huge in the server operating system compared to the, it will support more hardware in the server operating system compared to the client OS. There are certain advantages with the server OS. And you have to remember also the server OS also consumes more resources, more your hard disk size, more your RAM. So when we talk about the administrator, you need to do many things. So will you go to each machine and do those things? You need to have what? You need to do from one machine or going to all machine and do it? Centralized. So can you do centralization through client OS? That's what we need to, as the administrator, use what? Centralization. Sorry, use what server OS for centralization. So basically with this course, what we are going to discuss? Server operating system. Which server operating system? Windows. Which one? 12. So now one doubt might come to your mind. Why we are discussing 12? It is also there. Because if you find most of the servers in the companies, they will work on the old and stable server OS. Still you might find many companies using what 12. Some might be still on 8 also. Some might be on the 16. But when we work through this 12, we can able to easily work on 8 as well as on 16. Some changes are there, but most of the things from the 12 to 16 are. So with the 2012, we can able to easily work with what? 8 as well as on the. But that certification is also available. The name called MCS. So like, any idea how many papers you have? You call yourself as a MCS certified person? 5. So in that, if you clear the first 3 papers, that is a mandatory. So the codes are what? 410, 411, 412. So once you clear these 3 papers minimum, you will be getting the certification from the Microsoft as what? MCSE. Means Microsoft Certified Solution Associate. It is what called associate. Then you have 2 more papers to clear to be called as what? MCSE. So what are those 2 papers? 13 and 14. So in our course content, we will be concentrating on this. Then when we talk about our administration role, so we can divide that administration role into 3 parts. And that is what we are going to discuss through our course. First part is what? We should know basics about like what is network. Then another important work is what? If you join into some startup company, you should know also how to design your network. So in our first part, few days we'll be concentrating on what? Basic fundamentals of networks along with the IP address and how to design our network. So to design our network, we have models. So that also we'll be discussing initially. Then our main focus will be what? Our main focus will be what? Managing. Managing what? Our entire network. So to manage our network, entire network, we Will you go to each machine and do it? Then to control and manage from a single machine. But that what you need to achieve, what you need to do, manage the network in an easy way. We need to make what? Manage our network easily or in a simple way. Server voice you have to use compulsory, but what you have to do to make your network manageable in a simple way? Like I said, you have to give some policy to one user. Will you go to their machine and do it? You have to do from your machine system. Then how it is possible? It will be done automatically. Group policy you are applying. So you are applying on your machine sitting as here. Will it apply to that machine? Those machine on which the clients are sitting. Automatically it will apply. No. Then what you have to do? This thing can happen only if you make your network centralized. What you have to do to make your network manageable and simple to handle? First need to make your network what? Centralized. So how you will do your network centralized? Any idea? We will connect through the connecting device, like maybe you will be having idea how to connect multiple machines to a network. With the help of what? What you will use? Switch. So that will make your network centralized. So you have to use router. Why router? It's a different concept. When you need communication between two different network, then you need the router. But our concept is what? First of all, you need to make your network centralized. How do you make your network centralized? Yes. How do you make your network centralized? You need to create what? Domain. So domain means what? Yes. So you have to make sure that all your devices works under a common name, under a logical administrative boundary. So that is possible by creating what? A centralized thing. So that centralized thing, how do you achieve here? How do you create a centralized? Because our main concept is what? You need to create domain. Means everything will become centralized. But how do you create a domain here? How do you make your network centralized? Server. I'm using server voice. Will it become now centralized? We have to install some service. Most important service. Which service? Yes. There is a service called Active Directory Domain Service. Through that, our entire network will become centralized, which work under a common domain name. Then you can able to implement everything from your machine to all your machine based on your requirement. So our main focus will be what? Initially, what is IP? What is network? How to design it? So to design our network, we'll follow what? The topology. Physical topology and logical topology. So that we are going to discuss. So once your network is ready, you need to make your network as what? Centralized. So to make your network centralized, what you have to do as an administrator? What you need to do as an administrator? Install a service, very important service. Our complete centralization depend upon what? A service. That service name is what? Active Directory Domain Service. So we'll be going to discuss how to install this service and how to make our network as what? Centralized. So that our management becomes simple. And we can able to control all our employees or our users as per our requirement. So that will be done with the help of what? Important service called Active Directory. So our focus main on this course will be what? Our core will be what? This service, Active Directory Domain Service. Then our final part will be what? We will be incomplete administrator unless until we don't know how to configure the servers. Servers means what? Database servers. Suppose I want to give IP address to multiple machines. So what should I do now? DNS. DHCP. DHCP is what? It's a one type of server through which I can assign IP address automatically to all my machines. So in how many machines I'll configure the DHCP now? I have suppose here 20 machines. Now I want to assign IP address to all of this machine. So will I go to each machine? No, you said. So I'll assign. Now for that solution is what? Configure the DHCP. So my question is, in how many machine I need to configure the DHCP? In all machine or only in one machine? Only one machine. So that is what called server. So when you configure some services based on your requirement, that is what called server. Server means what? Which provides you the service. Can be categorized into different type of servers also. Our focus is what? How to configure the services or make our machine as server to provide the services as per our necessity or requirement. We will be discussing some important basic services required to maintain your network. Like one of the service compulsory required in your network is what? Just now you said what you required. Yes, you have made the domain. Now you need to give the IP address. So how do you give the IP address? You need to configure what? A server. Which server? DHCP. Now the client is feeling not easy to remember the each other machine IP address, but they need to communicate. Then what you will configure? What you will configure? So that easy. Which one is easier for you to remember? Number or alphabets? Alphabet. Now you've given some name to the system. Now you want to access with system name. How it is possible to access the other system by name without knowing the IP address? So for that, what service you have to use? To access, yes, DNS. Like, do you use the DNS in our day-to-day routine work? Anywhere we are using the DNS? Where? When you browse anything by name. So in the background, which service will work? DNS. So DNS can be very useful in the private network as well as in the public network. As an administrator, we'll be discussing how to configure so that we can able to access by name instead of IP. Because we can remember easily what? Names. Then we also will be discussing nowadays everybody is using what for promoting or hosting their information. What they are doing? They are hosting their own website. So how to host our website? But that also one service is there. Any idea? IIS, the Windows. That also we are going to discuss. So our basically this course we will be doing what? Three things. First, we will be concentrating on the basic things like fundamentals. What is network? How many types of networks are there? How to connect? Then how to design our network. Then second part, how to make our network centralized. Then after making the centralized network, how to manage it. That we are going to discuss. And finally, we'll be discussing what? How to configure services in our network. So this will be the focus of our course. You can say that this course we will be discussing or trying to discuss these things. The idea like design your network, how to access. Topology, that is what called topology. So how many types of topology? topologies you have? What are they? Physical topology and optical topology. We are going to focus on what? Both of these. And we will be also focusing what? How to make our network centralized. So to make our network centralized, we will be installing one. What service will be going to install? ADDS. So then after doing that, you need which type of users? Local users or domain users? Domain users. So domain users will be created after installing the ADDS service or before installing? Before I install ADDS, if I create a user account, then and after installing the user, after creating the user with the ADDS service, what is the difference? I did not install ADDS. I created user account. Now install after some days or some time ADDS, and I created a user again. Is there any difference between that users? Before installing the ADDS, I created the account. Now after installing the ADDS, I created the user through ADDS service. Is there any difference between these two users account? Yes. What they are called? Local user and domain users. Local user means what? In which machine I created account. In that machine only the user will log in. But will you work like that setup in a real-time environment? No. The user will be created from the server, and that user can log in from any machine, whichever is free. Yes. So how that is possible? The domain users. So once you install the ADDS, we will be creating what? Domain users. So what is the advantage with domain user? They can log in. So we'll be discussing that. Then if you need to give multiple users a same permission, then what you will do? Suppose I have 100 users. Particular requirement is 100 users should get a particular permission for a particular file. Now what you will do now? Create a group like we'll do in the WhatsApp. If we have to send same message to many people, you do individually, it will take a lot of time and you have to do that many times. To avoid that, what we'll be doing? Create a group, add those users into the group, then put the message on the group. Same way, when you need to manage multiple users with same permission, then you need to create what? Group. So that we will be also discussing. Then there is a concept called OU. OU you heard? Organizational unit. So what we'll do through that? Now you said group is created to apply the permission. And what you will do with the help of the OU? So we'll have a session. We'll discuss that. But I'm giving you the basic idea, overview. What are the things we are going to discuss through this course? So we'll be also discussing what? How to create the OU. What is the use of the OU? Suppose 50 or 100 users are there. The company said now 30 users should not able to get a particular application or particular service. Now what you will do in that scenario? Suppose they should not able to access the internet, or they should not able to open their internet explorer. 30 people out of 100. Then what will do? So now how do you do? You created them. So you created the group. So can you apply the policy on the group? No. We have to create what? OU. To apply our requirement. That is called policy. To apply the group policy, we need what? OU. And to get the details of the users, complete detail, or maybe the account department, for the HR department, you can maintain what? OU. Where we can organize the user data as well as we can apply the policy on the OU. Maintain the security of the data. How do you maintain the security? What you have to do? We'll apply the permission. But how do you secure data users? Because creating the data of the employees secure, but that administrator has to use what? Profiles. So we'll be going to discuss what? How to keep our employees' data secure with the help of what? Profiles. So we are going to also discuss through this course what? What is profile? How many types of profiles? How to create the profile. That is also one part of our administrator role. Then we'll be also discussing what? The policies, requirement of our company, how to be executed as per the requirement. So for that, we'll apply what? Group policy. So the group policies can be implemented on whom and how will be discussed. Then network at our system administrator job or any administrator job is incomplete without making sure the company data remains safe and secure. So how do you make sure that? By taking the So first part is what? Network designing. Second part, how to manage the network. Then we'll be discussing this particular topic. So in this, our main focus will be what? Active Directory. So for that, we have about 5 days session. For Active Directory, how many sessions we have? 5. And managing means controlling is also very important. So 2 days we'll be discussing what? Group policies. Then we'll be focusing 2 days about like profiles. And 2 days about like designing of our network. 1 day about creating the domain users. Then 1 day about the OUs. Right. And coming to the last part of our course, so in the network, the users will be using what? The clients will be using what? Services. So who has to provide the services? Administrator. How the administrator will provide the services like DHCP, DNS, like just to configure. So who will be configuring the servers? Administrator. On which OS? Server OS or client? So all these things are possible on client OS. Can you make your network centralized by installing a service called ADDS in client OS? Same way, you cannot configure your servers on the client OS. So that's why we'll be discussing through this server. So what are the services? Important services we'll be focusing how to configure here. One of the important is what? Active Directory. Then other services required in the network is what? Like to assign the IP address, we'll be discussing which service? DSC. Like I told you, when you want to access anything by name, either in the private network or in the public network, you need one service. What is that? So DNS will be discussed. Then nowadays, suppose if you got an opportunity to work in a startup company, so you have about like 50, 60 machines. So first thing what you have to do, install the OS. So will you go to each machine and install the OS by inserting the DVDs? The option. So for that, we have an option to install our OS in a network through a service called WDS, Windows Deployment Service. So we'll configure that in all machine or in one machine. One machine. We'll configure. We'll see that how to configure. But I'm giving the overview. What are those? Whose are those services? So we have an option of configuring in one machine what? WDS. Then in all machine we can able to install the OS without manually inserting the DVD. So OS installation is possible simultaneously in multiple machines through a service called WDS. DHCP abbreviation? Yes. And DNS? Same way, WDS? Yes. Now, next we'll be also discussing what? IIS. IIS stands for? Through this, what you will be doing? Host the website. So what is the other option you have other than IIS? IIS is a service designed by the Microsoft. So it supports which OS? Windows. But suppose you are using other OS or the company is using other OS. What is the alternative? Have you heard the name Apache Web Server? So in Windows, we are using what? IIS. In non-Windows, Or in Windows also we can use one more other popular service called IIS. Yes. Then we will be also discussing what? Hyper-V. Have you discussed? Have you heard about the Hyper-V? Hypervisor. Yes. What is we'll do with that? Hyper-V is used for what purpose? Yes. That is what called with a single word virtualization. Virtualization you heard? VMware. One of the third-party tools. But with that, what we'll do? Virtualization. Virtualization means in one physical machine we can install multiple operating systems. So inbuilt one application is there in Windows operating system that is called hypervisor. So using that, which OS you can install? Only Windows or any OS? New OS. So that also we are going to discuss. Along with what? Have you heard about the VPN? What is VPN stands for? What we will do with this? Connect you to the other network. Yes, private network from any place. So that is also we are going to discuss how to configure the VPN on our server operating system so that our employees or people can able to access our private network from remotely or any place with security. Overall content we have in our MCSE course. So did you got some idea? In our coming day session, as an administrator, our focus will be on what? These things. Designing our network, maintaining our network, and configuring the services in our network as per our requirement. So these are the three most important work we'll be doing to this operating. Okay. So now let us concentrate on what is MCSC. So before this, what we were using in Windows, which operating this MCSC is designed on which server operating system? 2012. So before that, like MCSE, before that, what was there? Now it is stopped the certification for that. Like before 12, what was the OS server OS? 8. So on the 8, it used to be called as what? Like this 2012 server operating system. We are referring with what name? MCSE. Same way, 2008 server operating system used to be referred as what? The certification for that? MCITP. The abbreviation for that? Microsoft IT Professional. But now that 2008 has been stopped. Now we are working on what? MCS through server operating system 12. But you remember with this, we can easily work on 8 as well as on 16. So how many papers you have already we discussed. Then next coming to what are the features this operating system have any idea? No idea. So just we'll discuss the overview and all these things will be focusing on our coming day session. So today is what our just introduction class. So tomorrow onwards, one day we cannot complete all these things. So just we are discussing the overview. So one by one, all these things we will discuss. Now coming to the features of this 2012 server operating system. So what are the features we have? Any idea? Yes. Any idea about these features? So one of the feature is what? 2008, that operating system was based on 32 or 64. Initially, it was there on 32, but they upgraded with what? Service packs were available. So with that, 64 also was there. But now in the 2012, there is no 32 bits, only 64 bits. Next. So what is the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit? Any idea architecture-wise? Which will be better? Because it will take that 32-bit to do our process in the 32. Here, 64. So which may work faster? 64. Next one, easy installation. So if you know even the Windows 7 or 10 installation, same way it is what? 2012. And it will also take less time compared to the old editions. So that's why it says what? Easy installation. Next one is what? Now you might be knowing. Everybody is talking about what now? Cloud. Cloud means what? So how do you define it? Cloud now? Yes. Only backup file. So everything, your storage, your maintenance, you can access everything from anywhere by using what? Internet. So now they given also with 2012 what? Cloud infrastructure. So they have their own cloud, you know, Windows, Microsoft company. What it is called? Azure. So from this operating system, they have the support for the cloud infrastructure also. Then previously, to install and remove any application, where we used to go? No, if I want to install any application or I want to remove, generally where we'll go in the Microsoft operating system? Where we'll go to install or remove any application? Where it will be available? In which icon? Control panel. Generally, to install and remove our application, we'll used to go where? But now from 2012, you have what? A separate console given with a name what called server manager console, or it can be called as what? Customized dashboard. So with this, we don't have to go to the control panel to add and remove. So this that all this can be done with very easily through a separate console provided with what name? Server manager console. So from 2012, we are getting what? Improved server manager console. Under that, we have what? Customized dashboard through which we can easily install and remove any application. And also, they have given the option of installing this OS in two versions, either server core or full. What do you mean by this server core and full? Yes, the OS will be working through what? Command prompt. And full means what? Like full features, graphical version. So not only installation, after installing also, we can able to convert our OS from the full version to server code and from UI to full. So this is the feature they have given from the 2012. Next. Active Directory is very important. So by default, if you have deleted some Active Directory objects, for like simplicity or for the to prevent the data loss by mistake, if you have deleted something, where it will be stored by default generally in a recycle bin. So they design Active Directory recycle bin because for us Active Directory is very important. So the Active Directory objects, if you have deleted by mistake or intentionally or unintentionally, depending upon that situation at that time, so those things will be automatically stored in a Active Directory recycle bin, provided you need to enable it. By default, it is disabled. So when you enable the Active Directory recycle bin, whatever objects of the Active Directory you are removing, it will be stored there for 180 days. So when you get a requirement to get that thing, you can easily restore it. So that feature also they have given. Then along with what, certain new they have added. Federation service also is there, certificate service, like everything now need to be accessed from which protocol, HTTP or HTTPS. So that work on what, certificates. So those type of things have been added from the certificate services. Apart from HTTPS, some other services will be there. So that they have included from where, 2012 server operating. So these are the some of the features of this operating system OS. Apart from that, we also have what, now inbuilt one console, which is called GPMC. It will stands for Group Policy Management Console. Through this, what you will be doing, you will be applying your group policies. So to apply the group policy, they made one console with what name? GPMC. So remember, when we want to apply our requirement, we'll go to this console. Okay. Then we can also deploy whatever application the user required from our machine to them. How to do that? We have a topic. How to deploy the required application to the users. So we can do that through this server operating system. And have you heard about the disk quotas? Yes. What is that? Multiple partition you can create anywhere. No? So generally, disk quotas means what? The user will be given centralized. User is been made centralized, and you will be given what? Centralized hard disk. You will be accessing from anywhere. So some users might waste the server hard disk because they'll be in folder. So that will be available in file server or in directly from the server. So if they are wasting the server hard disk, then you can apply them the restricted space, or you can apply limited space, and we can also restrict which type of file they are using frequently to waste the space. That also we can restrict. So that type of limited or giving the limited size of the hard disk or preventing them from downloading or using certain files, that can be done by applying what? Disk quotas. Then there is also a feature called DFS, means distributed file system. With this, what we will do? So in Windows, if you want to do the sharing, what you will create? To do the sharing, what you will create? Suppose I want to share some files with some users. So what I need to create? Share folder. So now you can have for one department one share folder, another department another share folder. But to the manager or somebody, it should be available in a single folder form. So one department you have created one share folder. Somebody higher folder they are using for each department, and they want that information. So you can combine those multiple share folder into a single one. That feature is here is called what? Distributed files. Then we also have the option here of taking what? The backup by using a service called Windows Server Backup. By installing this service, we can take the backup of the entire server. So this feature is also included here. Then the DNS, very important role it plays. So it has its own services, service records, through which the users will be accessing with the what? The domain with name. So those dependencies also will be there, along with what? Another service called inbuilt service. What you have? Just you have to install it. Yes. And now they have given what? Improved features on their virtualization technology with the what? Hyper-V. So previously in the old version we need to download it, But now they are giving this hypervisor inbuilt, so that we need to just install from our OS and use this technology for creating multiple OS. These are the important features which server operating system will provide us 2012. And we can deploy the OS with the Active Directory. And I told you we can able to convert what our OS from the GUI to core and core to, and they added also some important features of what failover DHCP server. Means for everything they need a backup. So suppose if you are working your entire network with one DHCP server, if the DHCP server gets down, means you get a problem. So they'll maintain the backup of the DHCP server by using what? Failover DHCP server. So we have a session how to configure our DNS also, DHCP also will see, along with how to maintain our backup DHCP server. That also will be discussed. So this feature is there in this 2012 failover DHCP server to be configured. And everybody nowadays need what? I want better security. So here the domain users will log in with a security or not? Yes. So when the users is login from anywhere, the authentication protocol here is what? From the user to the domain. How it will be authenticated? With the help of some protocol. That protocol name is what? Kerberos protocol. So now in that also they made the upgrade version, which will provide you the better security. And also internet protocol security they have added with the 2012 server operating. These are the some of the important features we have in the Windows 2012 server operating. Okay. So today is our first day. So this is about just basic idea I gave you. What are the things we are going to discuss in our coming day session? So yes, online students, that's it for today. We'll continue the session tomorrow. So do you have any doubts or anything? So we'll discuss that tomorrow. So today is our just introduction class. So that's it for today. So tomorrow onwards, we'll have full complete session. Today is only introduction part. So that's why today's session is only about this much. Tomorrow we'll discuss starting with what? Types of network, how to design, how to install the server operating. All these things will be discussed. That's it for online students. Tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.